Thank you very much, Minister, for joining us today.
Hello. Hi.
COVID-19 has really changed a lot of the way that we live, we work, we play. And I wonder if we could start by looking at the future and what you think has actually permanently changed as a result of this pandemic.
Well, the very fact that we can have this interview with me looking into the camera and you also looking into the camera, it marks a rapid shift to the social norm that we think that meeting through video conference is more convenient, have less carbon footprint and less jet lag adjustments, all the good things. Previously, the decision makers, high-level officials, often refrained from attending video meetings because they have prior experience maybe 5 years ago or 10 years ago, where it's very laggy, the sound wouldn't work properly, and they think that, oh, you can't make a good impression on screen. But nowadays, with a simple, 1080p camera, we can have a pretty good quality conversation. And compared to wearing a mask, where you really cannot read each other's expressions, this is actually of a higher fidelity. And so I think the video conference for one, as well as telepresence, robotics, extended reality, all those associated things about co-presencing, I think that is becoming a norm, and that is the norm that I think is very exciting because it also makes international solidarity much more possible.
And how then does this change the way that government in particular functions, both domestically and, of course, from Taiwan's perspective on the global stage as well?
Yeah. So our country is a set of islands, a lot of islands. The largest one, the main island, 23 million people, is just 90 minutes, 95 minutes of high-speed rails from the northmost to the southmost city. And so because of that, we're a very highly connected, literally, and very high density. However, in the remote islands or in the mountainous areas, the indigenous nations, and so on, we also make sure that broadband is a human right. So anywhere in Taiwan, even on the peak of Taiwan, almost 4,000 meters high, you're guaranteed to have 10 megabits per second symmetric unlimited data connection through 4G at just 16 euros a month. 15 euros last I checked. And so, and if you don't, it's my fault personally. Because of that, we make sure that we deploy 5G in the most remote places, the places that where the 4G connectivity is the weakest. And this says two things. First, that I can travel anywhere in Taiwan and attend a local town hall meeting and have good enough bandwidth both ways so that we can, in a fishbowl style, be joined by multiple municipal or central government officials who look at the actual people's issues on the ground, empowering the people closest to the pain, instead of asking people to take 90 minutes, 5 hours, depending on how remote they are, to travel to Taipei to have 15 or 14 minutes of my time. I go there, immerse myself in their culture, learn from local indigenous elders, and so on, and make sure that all the central government people can join us in answering questions and also in decision making. And so this way of co-creation transcends the boundary between the rural and the urban. So that's the first thing that has already changed. I've been doing this for more than 2 years now. It's just the pandemic. Make sure that even very high-level officials from international audiences, they're now also willing to participate. Like 3 days before the World Health Assembly, Taiwan hosted our own mini-lateral meeting of 14 countries' top health officials. Previously, it's hard to convince them to join video conference, but now the WHO itself is through video conference, and the Taiwan one has better bandwidth. In any case, what I'm trying to say is that this is not just domestic. The international decision-making, previously when you have to get to the same building, you check the passports, there's the membership seat, the observer seat, the social sector seat, and so on. And it's all very formal. But online, everybody is just one, window, and you can just arrange it any way you like locally. And so this breaks a lot of barriers toward collaborative decision-making, also on international scale. So we can look at more mini-laterals, focused multi-stakeholder institutions and bodies that allows for more live participation, regardless of how remote you are.
And one of the things that's very interesting about the way that you've always structured your work is that people join you on secondment. You've never favoured a top-down, centralised ministry approach. And I wonder, how do you think that these trends of government becoming more of a platform of co-creation of flexible structures within government will accelerate as a result of what we're talking about just now?
That's right, because we have a horizontal minister position. So I'm one of the horizontal ministers. There's maximally 9 of us, 8 at the moment. So each of us is charged of working with multiple ministries so that they may have different values. Each ministry is a different value, but they can build a common value around, say, sustainability. And so the point of this horizontal leadership is not to give orders or take orders, but rather to find common ground from everybody involved. And my innovation, if you will, is just instead of just the central government public officials who second me in the public digital innovation space, we also ask like graduate students with service design or with engineering proficiencies to join us as interns. Or we work with fellow cultural anthropologists, human geographers as externs, for lack of a better term. And we join all the different townships in a kind of touring mobile office so that the local people can also voice their concerns and partake in decision making. The place that I am in now is literally a park. It is a social innovation lab. If you look out of the window, which the sunlight is a little bit strong, but you can probably make the contour of a building. There's the basketball place where people are playing, and this, you can see the meeting that is in the outdoor setting, so that physical distance rules are more relaxed, and some Lego blocks, which are the Sustainable Development Goals, showing at the moment 11, 3, and 17. So what I'm trying to get at is that this is truly a open innovation space. Anybody can just walk in from the street, from the Renai Road or the alley from the Zhongxiao Road, and they can meet me for 40 minutes at a time and just say whatever they want, and it's part of the radical transparency. And when you open up your work like that, you make sure that the innovation comes from the social sector. It empowers the social sector by amplifying all the best ideas from them. For example, using a distributed ledger to show the availability of medical masks in nearby pharmacies. That's not my idea. It's someone from Tainan's idea, and they never need to travel to Taipei because we have this way of working remotely.
And what's noticeable is that you are in the office, and that's, of course, as a result of the Taiwanese government's management of COVID-19. And I think let's turn to that now. How did these structures, how did digital help Taiwan's government to mitigate the very real and difficult effects of this pandemic?
First of all, I must say that the most important technology in countering the coronavirus is not digital, it's soap. It's washing your hands properly, and also alcohol sprays. With that said, with the digital does amplify the importance of soap. I say soap because we build everything on top of that, right? We have a medical mask incentive design that when people put on the mask, it signifies that I'm not touching my face a lot and I'm washing my hands intently. And when I put on the mask, I can also remind other people to take care of their own hand sanitation habits by putting on a mask to prevent inadvertently touching their mouth. And so structured this way, this enables very few people in a large crowd to effectively convince the rest of the crowd to start wearing masks, appealing to their self-protection incentive. And this is more viral than, say, I'm wearing a mask to respect you or some other social signal. And so this is important. And so because of that, we use every way that we can to spread this idea of medical mask wearing and amplified our production facility from 2 million a day to over 20 million a day, and using the digital to make sure that every 30 seconds, everybody can see where does the increased production go, which pharmacy have increased stock recently. When you go to a pharmacy with your national health insurance card, if you're an adult, you can collect 9 masks every 2 weeks, 10 if you're a child. And then when you swipe, after a couple of minutes, you see more than 100 applications that the stock level of that pharmacy deplete by 9 or 10. If it rather increases, you will call this hotline 1922 and tell them that something is wrong. And your suggestion to 1922 will become national policy if the CECC, the Central Epidemic Command Center, in their daily live stream 2 p.m. press conference, take on your idea. For example, in April, there was a young boy who refused to go to school because all he had at that part of the country was pink medical mask. When you're Asian, you don't get to choose the color. And then he said, the classmates may laugh at me or something. So their friend called 1922, suggesting that maybe everybody in the press conference, the medical officer, should wear pink medical mask as a sign of solidarity. And they did that the very next SECC press conference. And so this is not a top-down way of saying you should not discriminate or something like that. This is we showing a social innovation that says color doesn't matter. Any color mask that protects you is a good color. And that's social innovation for you.